Well. It looks like CGC CEO Steven Eichenbaum has been watching the Swagglehouse YouTube channel because apparently he knows the effectiveness of writing a letter. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swagglehouse. And in this video, we got ourselves a letter. A letter from Steve Eichenbaum, CEO of the Certified Collectibles Group, talking about all of the recent events, recent scams, recent shenanigans going on, for the legal team of CGC with all of the holder swapping. He actually addressed this and sent it out earlier this morning. And so in this video, I thought that we would kind of go over it together, talk a little bit about what he said, and kind of give my thoughts on sort of the overall positioning of CGC at this moment in time. Not only does Steven Eichenbaum think that CGC is not guilty, he also thinks they are innocent of not being guilty, aka he rests his case. You rest your case? What? No, I thought that was a figure of speech. Case closed. Sorry, every time I do a CGC video, I feel like now I have to put in a Simpsons reference for you guys here today. But of course, before I get into the letter, if you guys could like, comment, subscribe, I would appreciate it. Help support the channel, doing those things. Also, Sanity Kickstarter V2. Follow the link in the description. All right, let's get into this video here today. A letter from Steven R. Eichenbaum, CEO of Certified Collectibles Group. The Certified Collectibles Group aggressively pursues bad actors who seek to defraud us and the collecting community. Dear friends, the CGC Group and our companies, NGC, PMG, CGC, and ASG, exist to protect the collecting community from counterfeit, overgraded, and otherwise misrepresented collectibles. I like to say that we are the good housekeeping seal of approval in the collectibles world. Our position as a hobby's first line of defense sometimes makes us a target for bad actors who try to defraud us or misappropriate the trust that we have built for our community. These scammers are persistent, and we are in a constant battle to prevent and detect fraud, such as counterfeiting or tampering with our holders. I'm going to try to be not too snarky when I read these emails. I mean, I can't help myself. That's just my personality. I actually do think that it is nice that he is writing a letter to us, but come on, Steven. Our position as the hobby's first line of defense, are they really the first line of defense here? Are they really? Now, I'm not going to be the one to create a meme out of that line right there, but if I were the memeing type, that would definitely be something that I would pick on. CCG has certified more than 85 million collectibles since 1987, including more than 10 million in 2023 alone. Counterfeit and tampered with holders represent a tiny fraction of the holders in the marketplace, but even one is unacceptable to us. We continue to pursue an aggressive, multifaceted strategy to combat this scourge. We take a number of defensive measures such as imaging all collectibles, testing and upgrading the seals of our holders, releasing new high-security holograms, and adding variable QR codes with more to come. Well, I definitely hope that there is going to be more to come, because when you say that you are testing and upgrading the seals of our holders, you do have to sort of wonder about this one. I mean, I'm sure at some point when they were doing, inspections for the holders and all that stuff, I'm sure that this was something that they were actually, doing when they initially created their case. But you have to sort of wonder, do you actually think that there's a department over at CGC that is constantly looking at ways to improve case security? I mean, it doesn't seem like that's the case. I mean, maybe they exist. It's certainly possible, but it doesn't really seem like that is a thing that the companies are actually doing. I think there was an interview with Dave from Comic Book Investments where he was talking to the CBCS people, and he was asking them about do you have internal teams that try to intentionally get past your security? And they said no. This is something that a lot of tech companies will do. Apple will try to do this with all of their programs and things like that. And you would think that that would actually be a good idea. I mean, there are people out there, a bunch of you pressers and cleaners that are constantly cracking open slabs that would be great people for CGC to hire, on a part-time basis as hey, can you guys crack open our case? Can we do tests with you guys and see if you guys can show us, some of the weaknesses or the compromised parts of our labels and our cases, And that would be a good program to have. I mean, maybe they actually do have that, and we just don't know, and they don't actually want to talk about that because, they wouldn't want people to know that there are people out there that have like insider secrets on it. But either way, I really hope that this is something that they're actually looking at and releasing new high security holograms and QR codes and more to come. Hopefully these are all things that we actually do get sooner rather than later. We also go on the offense and aggressively pursue bad actors, big and small, across the globe. We will keep the community informed of all these developments, and today I'd like to give you an update on our legal efforts. In Europe, an individual falsely claimed that he did not receive a return submission of banknotes and tried to recover more than 100,000 euros from us. Our team conducted an intensive investigation and determined that not only he received the package, but had also distributed many of the banknotes. After tracing these notes back to him, we notified law enforcement in Germany, where we have an office in Munich, in Austria, where the banknotes were delivered, and Turkey, where the individual lives. Australian authorities took up the case, and 2 weeks ago, the individual was convicted of fraud and sentenced to 10 months in prison. I mean, that's great that they don't mess around in Austria. Hopefully that's going to be true of, all the scammers going on here in the United States, but we will have to see. I mean, that's kind of an interesting case going on in Europe right there. One that I was actually not aware of, but cool for him to share. Another incident involved two former employees, one of whom stole comic books from CGC submissions. Okay, this must be the Terrazas case. They had these stolen books along with some of their own books encapsulated in CGC comic holders and then smuggled the books out of our facility to sell through various marketplaces. We swiftly filed a lawsuit against them and have already been granted a temporary restraining order while we pursue further actions, including damages. Yeah, that one seems pretty cut and dry. Shout out to Paul Lesko, the hobby lawyer who I had on my channel a week or two ago. He talked about that Terrazas one, and that one is pretty, seemingly it's by the book, and I do think that one is just going to be wrapped up fairly quickly. But eventually, when more of this stuff is settled with the Ulysses case and all that, I will have Paul back on the channel. We can kind of unpack some of the hearings and what comes of those things. We have also filed a lawsuit against an individual and his partner who tampered with CGC comic book holders. Okay, this is the Zanello one, to replace higher graded comic books with lower graded comic books of the same type. We are keeping the community updated on comic books impacted by the incident here. On February 13, 2024, we obtained a preliminary injunction order prohibiting the defendant from distributing, circulating, selling, marketing, altering, and removing. There was actually a little bit of an update from Paul's Twitter on that one. I don't think that, if I have this correct, I don't think that the injunction was actually something that they went through with, but I think that Ulysses just agreed to not sell any more CGC comics for the time being, as long as the trial goes on. So I'm not actually sure if the injunction was official, but I could be wrong on that. Basically, anything related to CGC graded books, pending the final hearing and ruling of the case, we are seeking further remedies from the court, including damages. Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty obvious, right? I mean, as long as they're going to do the case, they don't want Ulysses to sell any comic books or be affiliated with anything CGC. Sort of makes sense as to why they wanted that to happen. We will not tolerate acts of fraud against our community, and we will not rest until justice is served. We have been successful in the past. For example, last year, we advantageously settled a lawsuit against Richard Albright, who perpetrated a coin swapping scheme with NGC holders. Wow, a coin swapping scheme with NGC holders. Did you guys know about that? I didn't know about that. He was ordered to report all collectibles that may have been impacted by his scheme, surrender all of his electronic devices during the investigation, cooperate with efforts to reimburse consumers, and pay damages. That's crazy that there was a NGC coin swapping holder shenanigan scheme. I mean, guys, case security is all that matters, right? Like if swapping is always going to be a thing. It's never going to stop. It's always going to be a thing. And it feels like, hey, if you have coin swapping with NGC holders, which is, a part of the CCG umbrella, you got to know that, there's going to be swapping of holders for your CGC labels. There's probably going to be swapping of holders for your trading card, things, for your pulps, for your magazines, for your every single whatever thing that you grade. There's going to be swapping. So, again, hollow foil seals, serial numbers on the inner well, case security, new materials. When are we going to get this stuff, guys? We got to know. We got to get this stuff soon because it's really, really important. We recognize that fighting fraud that has already occurred is only one half of the equation to solve for a protected, confident, and whole community. Staying ahead of the bad actors is absolutely essential to ensure these types of incidents do not continue to happen, and we will take the steps necessary to enhance the security of our services and facilities. We have a comprehensive initiative to make continual, meaningful updates to the security of our products, and will share updates as they are available. Collectors and dealers can protect themselves from fraud in any number of ways. Always look up a collectible in our free verification certification tool on the homepage of our website. That has become something more evident than ever, right? You got to look up the book every single time, check the grader's notes, look at the images. And it also seems pretty clear, guys, that you notice how the images started getting posted on CGC's website. I believe it was last summer that they started it. Well, I think that it was pretty evident that it was a result of the Terrazas case, the employees that got caught, because a lot of people were thinking that maybe the Zanello case, the Reholder, Mark Jeweler Fuller situation, is what caused those things to be in there, but they didn't know that existed until December, and it seems like they knew that Terrazas was doing the shady stuff all the way back in, I think it was like March or April. So it feels like that was the catalyst that created them to put images on their actual graders notes and websites. And yeah, you got to use them now. I mean, it really is just one of those like, hey, if they had the ability to do this whole time, like why weren't they always doing it? I mean, they probably were taking photos of every single comic book already. They just weren't posting it on the site. So, you got to use that, and it's better late than never as far as it being up there. But, clearly this was done in the wake of all this stuff. All collectibles are now being imaged in high resolution. You can compare images to your collectibles to the images that we took. And again, shout out to Go Collect, right? Like this whole thing, the Reholdergate situation would never have been found had it not been for the images that were in Go Collect and stuff. So, images of the comic books are very, very important. We have to have them in basically everywhere that we deal with comic books. Buy from CCG authorized dealers, official submission centers, and strategic partners. You can look them up using the dealer. Well, okay, Steven, of course you want us to buy from authorized CCG dealers. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just giving a little bit of trouble there. Although, you guys know what it is. Choose online marketplaces that offer buyer protection, such as eBay. Of course. eBay is the, biggest marketplace in the world. It's the place to get all the books, but also, you guys got a partnership with eBay. We got eBay teams inside the CCG building. Do your research and exercise common sense. If a deal seems too good to be true, it probably is. If you suspect fraud, please report it immediately to reportfraud@collectiblesgroup.com. We are committed to protecting our community from fraudsters and anyone else who seeks to take advantage of collectors. We are also committed to being transparent with all of you and sharing information about what we are doing for you. Your passion is our passion. Sincerely, Steven. Well, I hope you guys really are trying to be transparent here. I hope that you guys really are interested in sharing information because, at the end of the day, transparency is key. Sunlight is the biggest disinfectant. The best way to address the scams is to call them out and point to them. We don't want to be Voldemort here in the community. We actually need to be able to recognize, hey, when we make mistakes, when things get messed up, how to fix it, and all these things. I think this is super, super important. The whole hobby, from collectibles to comics to even art and, antiquities and things like this whole industry is completely opaque. And I think it's done that way for many reasons. Obviously information has power in it. It has a lot to do with how you're going to be able to get money and leverage over people that you're trying to sell to and buy from and all of those things. But at the end of the day, is that really how we want it to be? Transparency is so important. I think keeping things on the up and up is the best way to build trust and to build a healthy community and ecosystem for the future. But very interesting that the CEO, Mr. Eichenbaum, put out this letter here today. Do you guys see this as something that was always going to come from him? He was always going to be putting out this letter? Do you guys feel like this was a letter that came out because, maybe CCG is feeling a little bit of pressure, as far as always like, oh, hey, we got to get more submissions. Like our submissions are down. The market's down right now. We got to drop our prices. Hey, let's write a letter sort of apologizing to the community. Very interesting timing on this one. I mean, what do you guys think about this? What did you guys think about his response, his letter? How did you guys react to it when you initially saw it? I thought it was really interesting. I didn't know about the European case. I mean, it seems like not really that big of a deal. If you ask me, just, someone saying that they didn't get their books back, not really their fault. The NCG one is very interesting to me because, or NGC, excuse me, is very interesting to me because that was another coin swapping reholder situation or case swap situation. That seems like a big red flag, like especially if that was something that happened last year and now you have this one right here. So, again, case security is really something that is huge that they need to address. And you have to wonder, when they're actually going to do it. I mean, how deep are they in, supplies right now with the current case? Like how big of a task is it going to be for them to, transition over to a new case from designing it to being able to manufacture it, to be able to get the new parts, all of those things? You have to think it's going to be a big undertaking, and they're going to do everything they can to not do that, including writing letters to the community. Anyways, what did you guys think about this? How do you feel about CGC right now? Are you guys submitting books? Are you guys buying graded books? Let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. See you on the next one.